but this was the sweetest goddamn movie.
It
Oh my
was.
God.
What's wrong with you, Tad?
But it was also really sad. I mean, come on. What's the lesson
I
of this
cried
film?
so much.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
mean,
uh,
it's not about. I mean, like it starts off and you think it's going to be just okay. That's just going to be this guy for 90 minutes. Just like it's like my wife trying to explain to my mother-in-law how to use her phone,
yeah.
and it's not about that at all.
No.
It's just about the effect this guy has on everybody else there.
Isn't Sergio great? I want a T-shirt with his face on it or something. I want it.
Yeah, that movie poster would be a good one to have.
My
on.
God, he's such a great character.
Well,
I
he's
think this movie's definitely sweet, but it's also like really gimmicky and cheap. And
Okay.
like in really strange ways. Like I understand what they were going for, but they didn't take the time to develop any of the other characters very well, except for Sergio. And they just the whole conceit of getting him in there with the mole agent thing, which they pretty much abandoned almost completely, was just gimmicky and dumb. And they didn't. I think she wanted to make a movie about, just old people who are kind of abandoned by their society, which that's the movie.
No, families.
She didn't need that way in. That way in was stupid.
Can I jump in here with the backstory?
I disagree vehemently. Whatever you're gonna jump, Tad. But I just want to say,
go,
Jared is wrong.
But
Jared is right. Put it up in the Chiron.
So I'm not saying it wasn't sweet. It was sweet, but it didn't have time to really nail home.
The question of whether this is a documentary is open, and I do not think this film is a documentary.
She's been incredibly open. She's been incredibly open about all of the ways that she directly interfered with this process.
The filmmakers set up sequences and made characters and gave them story arcs. It's very obvious. And in fact, they give us away in the beginning of the film when you're seeing him trying to get that pen camera to work, and he gets a shot of a guy with a Arri with a Zeiss lens and a focus puller. And this is basically a polished professional narrative motion picture that looks like
it's every fucking reality TV show on television.
I'm not putting it down, because I think that the narrative that they came up with was powerful. I think that
Scott, it sounds like you're writing this off as a fake documentary, and it is not a fake documentary.
It's not a documentary at all. It's a narrative. It's not even in a little bit of a documentary.
I disagree.
No, it is. It absolutely is a documentary.
It is a documentary.
That's what I'm saying.
Those nursing home residents are the actual residents of a nursing home.
Several of whom die during the filming of this.
Yeah, I do think it's a documentary. I just think it's not a very good one.
That's a perfectly acceptable. That's a perfectly acceptable argument. I'll take that. But this is not a documentary.
I think if this was in English, all of you would be like, it was okay.
No, the thing is, this is like Eisenstein's Strike. It's non-professionals telling a story in a milieu that kind of is their life.
It's like reality TV.
Right.
No, it's not. So again, that's the thing, is she is incredibly explicit about the ways in which she interfered.
Not in the movie, though.
This
is all after the fact.
It's
during the fact.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
if you make a movie and you release a movie. That's what it stands on.
But what she's saying,
my enjoyment of it.
What she says is, I interfered with the picking of Sergio as the person to go in. I did not interfere with anything that happened after that.
Right. That's
we believe her because
that's the extent of her meddling, is that Romolo didn't want to pick this guy because he wasn't the best choice, and she realized it would make the best film. So it's like, you got to pick this guy.
Oh, you're saying that the woman who did all the poetry, he does all the stuff that everyone's really charmed by, had a stroke and died in the middle of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. She shot 300 hours of this. 300 hours over the course of 3 months in this nursing home, and got 92 minutes of usable fucking movie out of it.
But the thing that amazed me was she didn't uncover any sort of petty theft.
Nothing happens. This movie, this is the best.
but that makes,
in my opinion, this is the best kind of
true.
documentary. This is a documentary where you think it's going to be about something else, and as they film it, as they go through what's going on, you realize that's not what it's about.
Yeah, those are the best documentaries.
Okay, if she
the
shot
worst one of those I've ever seen.
No, she
Every
shot
other documentary
300
that's done
hours
that, I
of
think it's
footage,
better.
and you got to end up with an hour and a half of footage when you're done. This is still, it's still not a documentary. It's a found film. That means that she was able to take all this footage and make stories out of it. It's like,
but that's not the same thing as
no.
It's not found footage. The characters are the characters.
Afterwards, out of the footage she shot, it happens all the time. Is it y'all? You know, it's like it all is. This is all it created an editing, and all got narrowed down into these crazy stories that we saw. Well, not crazy.
Jim's clutching his skull.
Very.
Dad's clutching his skull.
But I know that's fine.
I don't agree with Scott, but I just think that there was a better film in here, and they didn't get it.
Chris, do you have a card that says Scott and Jared are wrong?
I think Jared's criticism is very valid. Like, I literally think Jared's criticism is very valid. If you didn't follow the arc of this movie and it moved you or you felt whatever, that's fine. Like, that's completely acceptable. I
got what she was going. It did actually make me feel something. I just thought it was a little. I thought it was a little undercooked.
But that's not the same thing as thinking it's fake.
No, it's not.
I thought it was manipulative, like Steven Spielberg's movies often are.
It's the question of, like, a narrative promises you're not being lied to. A narrative doesn't make that promise.
I mean, there was just little things that bugged me, like his glasses and the little pen camera. You know, they come into play barely at all. They don't use any good usable footage from it that actually.
Well, that's because the footage you see of from his glasses is like unusable.
Right.
There's the one time where he runs around to the other side to try to get her, and it's just nothing. Like,
that's the chase scene.
And also, he hasn't been sending the updates. Like, the detective keeps getting mad at him because he's not sending the updates, and he's like, nothing's happening. I'm hanging out with these people.
Tad, you're making me love this movie again.
What do you want?
I feel like
I love this fucking movie, man.
I feel like you obviously get to know Sergio, and there's two other characters that you kind of get to know, but the rest, like, I feel like this should have been maybe like a series. This should have been like a series or maybe like a 4-hour-long movie.
She didn't have the money for that, unfortunately.
It's a matter of not being able to make a coherent story out of all the footage. Come on.
Well, she just, the other characters.
I think she did well with what she had.
That's exactly right. That's what Jim said. No, I'm not putting the film down.
I think there were a number of characters.
I was enchanted. I was enchanted. The thing is,
the woman who.
No, hold on, because even though I'm like saying it's a narrative and it was all put together in the editing room, I was very charmed by this film. I think it had something very important to say at the end, and it didn't matter that the guy was there to investigate the abuses, and he ended up with this completely different conclusion, which I thought
because there aren't any abuses. He says it.
There aren't any abuses.
I thought that was fucking beautiful. It says this is all loneliness and people not visiting them. And
when you see you see the staff, and every time he talks to the staff, including after she has the stroke and is taken away, the staff is fucked up about it too. Like they care. Like,
they actually seem okay.
The place looks great.
They're not bad or evil and not stealing anything. They're actually everyone's doing
like,
their best.
Also, I think that's a really nice retirement home.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I would hope to be in that.
Yeah. So that's one other that's one other thing with this movie. The breakdown of it being 40 women and 4 men is nothing like you get in retirement homes in anywhere, but especially in South America, where the matriarch of the family is kept at home. You send the father who is ill or whatever to the nursing home. So why is this mostly women with a very small number of men? Because this is the nursing home that they send you to when you're a spinster.
Oh, which explains that one character who never married and
yes,
the one that The woman
This
who
is
falls
the
in love
one-
with Sergio is a virgin, and
Yes.
she offers herself up
Yeah.
to Sergio.
They
So when
this
you
is
say
where
there's no
you
good
take
Which was my
characters-
favorite sequence.
That was.
Jesus.
this
Well,
is where
kinda
they
hard to
take the
watch.
women. This is where they take the women who didn't get married, who didn't have children, whose jobs weren't important enough that they were considered important in society, and leave them.
Although there
And-
are a few women that he talks to
Who have children.
grandchildren.
There's a couple of men,
Yeah.
yes, but this is where the wealthy leave the children, the female children who don't have their own children or whatever. Like that,
Yeah.
this is,
Which is why they're especially lonely, probably because
Yes.
they have no
Yeah.
kid.
and then in the aftermath of this, after this movie came out, she actually said that she's gone back a number of times to this nursing home, and since COVID happened and they went into full lockdown, a lot of these people actually have more contact with their family than they've ever had before, because they taught them all how to use Zoom. They taught them all how
Aha,
to use.
good.
Wow.
Right on.
Yeah. So they're actually having more contact with their families than they had at any point during this, which is crazy and weird. But also, you don't hear about COVID destroying this community because this is the wealthy retirement home.
Got it.
Yeah, but yeah.
I know that COVID, because of COVID, I'm seeing my friends a lot
Jim,
more.
you
than I
didn't
used
like
to,
it.
That's for sure.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't
You
talk
like
to
it.
all of you once a week if it wasn't for this.
I
I know
like
it's
it.
weird. You think about it; it's actually kind of brought people together.
I mean, I've had people put away in homes and I've gone to visit them, and like that scene where the person is shitting in the hallway almost.
Mhm.
It's just like that in a lot of these nursing homes. It's like people come up to you and say, I've pooped my diapers. Can you like help me get changed? It's like, I don't work here. I'm sorry, and I
The
know.
girl's mom worked in one of these places for like 30 years or something.
Yeah.
Or how she keeps going up to the front and asking people walking down the street to take her home.
That was the saddest part of the
No,
whole fucking
I've had
thing.
Yeah, that was hard to take.
We had an
man.
old folks home in my neighborhood when I was growing up, and that happened all the time. You walk by and they're like, "Come here, come here, come here, come
Come
here.
here, come here.
Send a message to my family. Get me out of
Because
here," kind of thing. It was
The
like
funny
terrifying.
flip side to that is Abe Simpson in the nursing home. I think The Simpsons has actually done a good job of exposing that.
Mind you, I thought even because it kind of abandoned its original story and it got to a better conclusion, it reminded me a lot of a good social message film. It's like The Gentleman's Agreement or something like that. I think they're saying there's an important message into this film, a lot more important than they started out with.
Call your mom.
Of course, of course.
Call your mom.
mom.
It's simple as that.
Call your
you know?
mom.
It's like loneliness is deadly.
I'm an orphan. Fuck it.
Exactly. That's how we.
Call Jim.
Something.
Call Jim.
So I
We
was
should
again.
flash
I was
his
very happy with the
number
film
up
in that
now.
respect.
Yeah.
I thought it reached a higher purpose.
1-866-Jim.
Jim's.
Well, something that Sheila often says is that, most of us here in the room, most of us, let's see, Jared is the exception. The rest of us don't have kids of our own.
Nope.
And Sheila says, just because you have kids, that doesn't guarantee that you're not going to die alone. And this movie is another reinforcement of that.
Yep.
It doesn't.
Because
doesn't
yes, the whole thing
guarantee-
has changed, I mean, you've gone from societies where you have like 3 generations living in a house,
Or
Under one roof.
five generations.
Yeah.
or 5,
Yes.
Yeah.
Chile 50 years ago, you absolutely would have 5 generations living in the same house.
Right.
Like,
And also, ultimately, we all die alone.
I blame Allende.
I always blame Salvador Allende.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
Was
and the
that- was that-
Lumineers,
was that-
apparently.
no,
Was
Chile,
that king of the nursing home or whatever he got? Was that the best?
that was great.
Yes. It
Oh
was
my
like
God.
finally he was homecoming king.
No, the
Right.
birthday party where
birthday
he's
party was
like,
even better.
"You've done enough.
Yeah.
Like, stop."
Yeah.
That's
Also,
when he starts to have regrets. That's when he's like, "Oh fuck, I don't actually belong here." Like,
Right. I'm manipulating the scene.
Right. Yeah, which is an interesting commentary on the whole "is it a documentary" question, right?
Well,
Right, right.
at the
Even
two-thirds mark,
he.
if this was a real narrative at 2/3 mark, I thought he was gonna like, I love it here. I'm gonna stay forever. Part of me
Well,
No,
thought,
because he wants to go home to his grandchildren.
I
Right.
know,
He
I
wants to
know.
see his family.
I know,
He
yeah.
wants to walk around that mall.
if it was a phony American film, that's how it would have ended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost a theme on yelling about movies. It's like, how would the American version have
How
fucked
would we
this
have
up?
fucked that
Yeah,
up?
I
Robert
still- I
Downey
still-
Jr. in old age makeup.
I think this would
Exactly.
lose. I think this would lose a lot of charm if it wasn't,
In another
Yeah.
language.
Brazilian.
Well, it would
I don't
lose
know.
all
I don't
sense
think
of
it's-
authenticity.
Chilean.
I don't think it's just that it's in Spanish. I think that it's the culture's different. You know, it's the there is still this slight respect for elders that they have. There is still this
The deep Catholic tradition to the whole
deep
thing.
Catholic
Yeah.
tradition.
What's the thing that they all? What's the thing? The impression he makes immediately is
They're all very religious.
What a nice gentleman.
Well, yeah, they're
Yes.
definitely religious.
Well, and he's wearing the suit jacket and the
Put it
sweater.
together, man.
Yeah.
I love
He's
the
wearing a
fact that
quarter
when
zip,
he
but
takes-
under a suit jacket.
Yeah.
when
He always
he
looks
takes
quite the
the Seamus to task there, it's all about respect. He's
Yeah.
like, you're not respecting me.
Also, that big Scarface
I feel
thing
like-
behind the.
Yeah,
the famous thing, that
he's
was
really
nice.
asserting his autonomy there with
Well,
With,
he is, because
Romulo.
that's the point at which he figures out it's like, this is total bullshit. You know,
and,
it's like,
and it is a great it's a great final the summary when he delivers his last report. It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. He's like, there shouldn't be a detective here trying to figure out what's going on. The person who hired you should be here. She's her mother.
Talk to your mom.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, talk
That
to
was
the
Mom
mother.
should come here and figure
was
this shit out herself.
Well, and also
So we know that. I know that Tad gave us a little bit of intro to this, which is nice and all, but I still, I mean, one thing about that is, a film should stand on its own. You shouldn't need any history when we're talking about films. But also that goes to Scott, like something about in the movie when he said that woman should come and visit her mother. That's the only time where I was like, I don't think that woman even exists. Like, I think this was all bullshit just to make this fucking movie.
That's the thing. That's kind of the line you straddle with this film. It's
Yeah.
documentary. It's not documentary. Was it real or is it fake? You don't
No,
know.
it's still a real environment, and they're really like the message in this film was great.
No,
It's
it was
just
great.
It's just that, yeah. But at that point, at the end, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, you know what? Actually, there never really was a daughter. There never was.
Well,
so
that could
again,
be true
based
of
on
any flick,
based on the interview with her, they were embedded in this private investigator's office for like 3 or 4 months before they actually got this case. Like, she just kept going there and kept going there and kept going there, which is how she figured out how to shoot it. That's why they have the Venetian blinds and they have all those good angles on them. And the great shot where the guy in the background keeps laughing every time Sergio fucks up with the phone. I don't know if you noticed that guy.
Yeah.
I also feel like this movie was shot, even though like the quality of the images are very, very good.
Yeah.
It's shot like a company, that was hired to do like a video for like a fucking
Dude, it's shot like a
corporate video.
like a business website or
No,
something.
It's a very small crew.
No, it's a shot like a documentary. There's no lighting. It's all natural light. And you have the new cameras that can do 10,000 ASA. They can handle it. And it looked.
Yeah, it looks
And
nice. I
two-
just mean like, but it doesn't have
And
any
2 audio guys.
style.
And
Doesn't
2
have
audio
any-
guys, yeah.
Yeah.
But I could tell there was some difficulty making the thing and kind of keeping out of the way while normal life in the nursing home went on. Like I said, the conclusion I got to was that people were being themselves in this film. All the other characters,
Absolutely.
they all had stories to tell, but can
Well,
definitely tell
definitely the residents were.
yeah, there was push on making stories about all of them. They thought they went home and storyboarded out and realized this person's going to be about this and this person's going to be about that. And there's really them. It just really helped,
But several of them,
You don't
several
need
of them
the
also
storyboard
didn't.
if there's like 300 hours.
They didn't.
worth of-
Right.
They didn't develop
Right.
them.
You
Several
can
of
do the
them.
storyboard after the fact.
Several of them didn't agree to be in the film either.
Yeah.
That's why there's a couple of people whose faces are blurred.
Yeah.
That's why there's a couple of people you only see from behind. Like I don't know if you noticed, there's like 10 lawyers listed at the end of this. Like the only documentary I've ever seen with this many lawyers attached to it was Tickled.
Right.
I want to say something about sort of the way Jared's saying, well, you should be able to, I think it was Jared said, you should be able to enjoy a film without reading an article about it. Was that was you?
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
It's a commonplace.
You don't have to have all this backstory.
In
the
film
movie
criticism.
should tell you.
Oh, well, what I want to say about
That's why I
that
didn't
is-
say anything beforehand.
Right. And what I wanted to say was I didn't read any articles before watching it. And so part of the, or at least another layer of the fun for me was unlocking. It's like, is this a documentary? It sure doesn't look like a documentary. And then trying to parse what was actually going on. So there was that kind of like, I think this really is a documentary. It took me like 30 minutes before I decided it was. And then I followed up and read the article and realized that, yes, Scott's opinion notwithstanding, it is a documentary, that all these people are non-actors and that they're pretty much being themselves. And there's just a camera crew there.
Also, anytime you film a documentary about something that's happening directly in front of you, you have changed it. Like that's
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't,
I mean, this is
Just by the nature of editing the piece, it's not real. Right?
That's
That's
his dialectics, man. That's his
But
because
dialectics.
it's obvious that
But you can get close. Like Jesus can. You can get as close as you
But I
possibly
mean,
can.
like they have
Yeah,
the
but
whole
you can also-
scene at
you
the
can
very
also-
beginning with the little old ladies with the microphone coming down. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh yeah, they're shooting something, you know. It's like-
Well, and they're
it's like
side-eyeing the camera. They're side-eyeing the camera for the first like 3 weeks that they're there. They're just like,
Well, there's also there's a continuity in documentaries. One end is like Harlan County, USA, or something that's really just literally a fly in the wall documentaries. This is a little bit is different. I think that this is more guided and a little more again made after the fact.
There's like-
but
Well,
it
don't-
still,
well,
it
don't
still
forget
has
There's
a story.
Pennebaker,
I'm not
there's
putting it down,
the
it still has a
Maisley
story
brothers.
to tell. That's the thing.
Maisley brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're following a character who is there under false pretenses. So there's a level where it's like we're the viewer watching the documentary, and then there's the guy who's going to the nursing home who's pretending to be something he's not.
And then there's even
That is
another
also we're
level.
watching a documentary about somebody lying. He's
Yeah.
pretending to be just another
and feeling bad about it occasionally.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? In situations
Although
like that.
he does enjoy sneaking into people's rooms and looking through their stuff.
Well,
That
ultimately,
was
the
bad.
conclusion I came to is
When Rita goes in and starts stealing all of the emoji pillows, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
my emoji
Yeah.
pillow, this is my emoji pillow. I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
now
was
we know.
more just
Now
like,
we know
dude,
where
he's
the
just gonna
thefts
open
are
the door to
happening.
these total strangers and like wake them up, go hi.
well, ultimately, like I said, this came out to be for me at least a social message film. It was
Well,
like
and then the detective is like, don't do that. Stop going in there and being like, hi, I'm gonna hang out with you every day. God damn it. What are you doing?
leave her alone. She's obviously antisocial, and she was very antisocial, if I remember.
Yeah.
She was. She
Oh.
was a bitch. She was the least nice
She
character
was the
in
least
the whole
interesting
fucking
character.
flick.
So they mentioned the drugs that she's on. She's bipolar.
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
The drug that she's on is a bipolar medication. And that makes a lot of sense based on the way that she acts in the movie.
Don't
So-
touch me.
Also,
Yeah.
Tad mentioned that this was a kind of a old folks home for well-off people who were spinsters, basically.
Yeah, it was
Now,
not.
The thing is, part of me was thinking, God, the whole film was like, Chile has got socialized medicine down to a science. This is really nice. So let's get back on topic and go around the room and see what people thought of it. I'm going to start with whoever. Just tell me.
First off, it was a movie. Secondly, it may or may not have been a documentary. It didn't ultimately affect my enjoyment of it. I thought it was charming, and so a thumbs up for me.
It's a movie. It is a documentary. It's just like we said earlier, we kind of touched on it, but there are different kinds of documentaries. There's all different kinds of documentaries.
Sure.
So but still, I'm kind of like in between on this one.
I mean, it's not every day except Christmas.
Mighty
for the record,
definitely absolutely affected what the final outcome of this is. I will not disagree with that.
I am 100% confident that I got what they wanted to do with this movie. I just think it was weak and it could have been stronger.
That's fine.
I was again, I'm convinced this was a assembled narrative, but I was very emotionally involved in the film from beginning to end. I was very touched by it because again, a lot of these people look like my mom's side of the family, you know, and so it kind of held me really close. And in the end, the message I thought was powerful. Now, again, this is for me thinking this is a social, this is kind of a social statement film. This is talking about.
You're right about that as well.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, remember the Gentleman's Agreement? I brought this up earlier. It's like that film, it was all made up, it's all made up characters, but it tells you something about anti-Semitism that was very important. This film has an important message at the end. And I think we should all
call your mom.
Call your mom. It's more than
Call
that.
your
It's like,
mom.
more than that. Loneliness kills you.
More than that, like
Yeah,
you have to have FaceTime, real life.
I'm so happy to hear about the Zoom thing. That made me really happy to hear that this guy's doing really well.
Great.
All right, who's next?
I don't know because we all see each other in a different order. But I'll just say that I liked it. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I was very emotionally affected by it. And I want my Sergio T-shirt.
I wouldn't have picked this if I didn't think it was a thumbs up. So
why did you pick it? Oh, Jim, I haven't heard from Jim yet. Hold on, Jim. Go ahead, go for it.
I enjoyed it. I just took it for what it was. It was a film. You know, there's a lot of.
Was it?
What?
It's a movie.
Was it though?
It was a movie.
Fuck all y'all.
Academy Award winner, right?
Yeah.
I like the Italian film too.
Oh, the Italian film.
Also Academy Award winner.
Yeah.
I like this one better of the two.
I like the Italian one better.
I guess I don't know. You know, when I started studying film, there's the whole documentary. Grierson is a name that comes to mind. The whole sort of British documentary film system where, and you know, Pennebaker and the Misley brothers, they all like, it's like you try and do cinema verite, you're trying not to affect
The fly on the wall thing.
fly on the wall thing, and it's not possible. Is the problem with that. You're always going to be
not how reality
manipulating
works.
shit. You're either manipulating it because you're just there pointing a camera in their face, or you're manipulating it because after the fact you're editing it to get a narrative out of it.
Right.
And so, yeah, I wasn't bothered by that part, and I just, yes, I like old people, so you know, it was.
That's wonderful.
I like one
found
old
it a
person, and
nice
it's
flick.
Jim.
Oh, me too. That's my favorite old person.
Has anyone seen Jesus Camp? That's one that stands out to me.
No, I like.
Okay. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
What's it on?
Also,
Tad.
Jim, just so you know, this was on Storytime in the UK and POV on PBS in the US.
POV was at the end. John.
Yeah. I know.
This is one of your competitors, John.
Why? Because I had a POV short film.
Yeah, you did. Cruitmobile was a POV.
Jesus
film.
crushed my car.
I know. Jesus, wonderful. So Tad,
Excuse me,
Tad, why did you choose this film?
Because it's great.
Okay.